Hey everyone, Tim Burchett just delivered a moment that sent shockwaves through Congress. After pulling out a video that exposed what he says is the real problem with the Democrats, Jasmine Crockett found herself facing a brutal political challenge. The reaction has been explosive, and today we're breaking down every second of this clash.
White pride rally disguised as a congressional hearing. It might be uncomfortable for some people on this committee to hear about the true history of America, and I hate that for them, but facts are facts. And it's a fact that there is a violent, exclusionary, discriminatory, sexist, and racist part of American history, where our indigenous populations were forcibly displaced from their land, where thousands of Black people were unjustly lynched, where Black people were denied the right to vote, and they still trying to do it today, where women needed their husband's permission to open a bank account, where people with disabilities were routinely excluded from schools, workplaces, and public life, where 4 little Black girls were murdered by the KKK at the 16th Street Baptist Church. So attacks on the Smithsonian or any other institution that's willing to tell the true history of America is not only an attempt to rewrite history, it's an attempt to erase history. They accuse you and the Smithsonian of sowing division in this country. However, before the White House deleted it, the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security found the biggest domestic threat to the United States is violent white supremacists. So I have a couple of questions for you. First, to the best of your knowledge, has the museum ever been linked to any violent act that has occurred in the United States or against the U.S. government?
Thank you, ma'am. Not to the best of my knowledge.
I don't think many of these white supremacists can even read, but to the best of your knowledge, can you identify a single artifact in your museum that would divide the country?
To the best of my knowledge, ma'am, no. I hope that they unite the country through a shared understanding of our past.
The Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of American History was opened in 1964 to instill in Americans and foreign visitors alike an appreciation of this nation's distinctive heritage and to celebrate its singular story as a beacon of freedom and opportunity. But the museum has strayed, I believe, from the original purpose for which it exists and receives federal taxpayer support. I feel like it's become infected by a woke ideology that's seeped into public displays, educational materials, and planning documents. The American story is the birth and growth of a great nation founded on powerful ideals on which we aim to fully achieve. But in the museum's current telling, history is just an ongoing power struggle between oppressors and the oppressed. Only the oppressed are celebrated, especially illegal immigrants. The museum promotes educational curricula that recommends teachers to avoid using the terms illegal alien and illegal immigrant, while instructing them how to use the terms gender fluidity and gender nonconforming. It hosts staff discussion groups on how museums can be used to foster social action against white privilege and heteropatriarchy. A museum display even accuses Mickey Mouse of having racist origins. Dr. Hartig proudly takes credit for changing the museum's mission statement, which no longer uses the term American history or refers to the infinite richness of that history. The museum is now guided by an interpretive plan that ensures all topics focus on the core issues of our time. And do we want to guess what they are? Race and identity, gender and sexuality, environmental change, immigration and migrations, and economic inequality top the list. Also, a Center for Restorative Justice at the museum, created under Dr. Hartig's watch, hosted a decolonization working group to investigate historical harms that result in ongoing systematic oppression. To remove any doubt about her intentions, Dr. Hartig, in her own words, states that she views history as a prime tool of social justice. Here's a brief telling video. The director of Museum of American History, in her public remarks, repeatedly implies Americans are illegitimately occupying their own country.
Before we begin, let us pause to acknowledge with gratitude the Native peoples on whose land we gather today. These are the ancestral homelands of the Piscataway people, joined by the Nacotchtank and the Paumanki tribes, and of course their descendants. We acknowledge the Native peoples more broadly of the Americas. Wherever you are, at this moment, give thanks to the first people on whose land we live, love, struggle, and work. At this moment, give thanks to the first peoples on whose land we're honored to live, love, struggle, and work. Wherever we're viewing this, let us acknowledge and give our respect and gratitude to Native peoples for the opportunity to work and live in their territories. Wherever we are today, let us acknowledge and give our respect and gratitude for the opportunity to work and live in their territories. And we're deeply grateful and want to acknowledge and give our respects and gratitude to them and to their ancestors for the opportunity to work in this territory. Let us join in acknowledging the layered complexities of our place, give our respect and gratitude to Native local peoples and the opportunity to live and to work and to study in their territories. So wherever you are at this moment, give thanks to the first peoples on whose land we're honored to live, love, struggle, work, preserve, care, and do.
Washington just witnessed a fiery congressional showdown. But this battle was never really just about a museum. It was about something much bigger. Who gets to control the story of America itself? During the hearing, Jasmine Crockett delivered a passionate defense of confronting America's most painful chapters, accusing Republicans of trying to erase uncomfortable parts of history. But Republicans pushed back strongly, arguing that institutions like the Smithsonian have moved beyond simply preserving history and have become influenced by political ideology. At the center of this explosive debate is one major question. Is America finally being honest about its past, or has history become another weapon in America's growing political and cultural divide? Crockett argued that America's story cannot be separated from slavery, discrimination, violence against Black Americans, the displacement of Native communities, and the fight for equal rights. Her argument was that acknowledging these painful moments does not weaken America. It helps the country understand how it reached this point. She believes that removing or minimizing these discussions risks repeating the mistakes of the past. But Republicans on the committee saw the situation differently. They argued that the issue is not whether America's difficult history should be taught, but whether the story is being presented fairly. They believe some institutions focus too heavily on America's failures while ignoring the nation's achievements, founding principles, and progress. Their argument is that history should show the complete picture, the struggles, the mistakes, but also the accomplishments that shaped the country. The debate became even more intense when Crockett brought up issues like white supremacy and historical injustice, arguing that the effects of the past are still visible today. Critics responded that America should not be defined only by its darkest moments, and that the country's progress should also be recognized. But here is where I personally stand on this issue. I believe a country cannot grow by hiding from its history. The uncomfortable parts of America's past should be acknowledged because ignoring them does not make them disappear. However, history should also be honest and complete. It should not only focus on America's failures while ignoring the progress and achievements that have happened over generations. The goal of learning history should not be to create guilt, anger, or division. It should be about understanding the truth, learning from mistakes, and recognizing how far society has come. When history becomes only a political weapon, people stop learning and start fighting. And this is the real divide. One side believes, if we ignore the mistakes of history, we risk repeating them. The other side believes, if we only highlight America's failures, we create an unfair picture of the nation. Ultimately, this hearing was about much more than the Smithsonian. It was about America's identity and the story future generations will be told. History should include the full picture, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Because the fight over America's past is no longer just about history, it has become a fight over America's future. What do you think? Should America confront every uncomfortable part of its history, or has history become too political? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more breaking political stories and in-depth commentary.